That's not my name. Call me ass. One more time.
You want to know how California got its name? It's not named after some explorer or king. Nope. Someone made the name up.
Wait, you're guilt tripping me, aren't you?
I'm cold.
I can tell. You know how I can tell? Because we're connected.
You'd come, ask Mary. I had a feeling. I said he heard me, and he's ready for a change. This is great. Did you do this? You come in a little hot?
Yeah, I'll meet you in the house.
This is a great place for us to start. I know you don't drive.
Damn it.
Oh, good catch.
Back with a splat.
Yeah, outfielders, the Red Sox need them.
Oh,
Need him.
I trust that you understand what you're talking about because I don't. Hi, I'm Mark.
And I'm Tom.
And we are
The
the
Cinemaniacs.
Cinemaniacs. So it's been 2 weeks.
3 weeks, I think.
3 weeks.
I think we missed 3 of them. Sorry.
We have a
My
list.
fault.
We have a list of things to cover.
We sure do.
So let's not keep up the charade of interpersonal connection here. Let's get going.
Go to it.
Okay, so first up, there is an interpersonal
Not me.
connection here. No, sorry. Hi, how are you? See? Crack squad. We are back, and so is a bunch of ladies who are sick and tired of the oppression of proprietarily scientific proprietitude and classicness and being good people and whatnot, so they decide to be bad moms.
Have a medley, fruity medley, new from France.
That looks classy.
Yes, doesn't it, though? Well, I was afraid going into this, so here's, we got to do it, we got to see it and review it, and because it's our job to the audience. So I was moderately surprised at this, that it had moments of actual humor and some pretty clever stuff. I like Mila Kunis. I like a lot of those actresses in there. How many times have we seen movies where 3 college buddies go out and just get drunk and ogle women, and it's really funny. So certainly not a problem giving the ladies their opportunity here.
They can make terrible films too.
This wasn't terrible. This had
good.
moments of actual comedy. There's a fun Cubs reference. This guy says, Mila Kunis is chastising her soon-to-be ex-husband because he never cries. He says, last time I cried was when the Cubs lost the playoffs. I said, yes, good for you. But I wish, in many respects, this is rated R for the F word about every 20 seconds. I don't mind it when it's used appropriately. This was just used, and I have to admit, the audience that I was with, there were probably 2 other guys in there. It was about half filled, so there were probably 100 ladies in the audience. Many of them just laughing constantly. So I think the target audience is really going to enjoy this. I didn't need to have the F word quite every time they turned around, and I didn't need probably 10 scenes where these 3 women, Mila Kunis and her 2 friends, are just drunk and falling over each other and making silly comments. That wasn't clever. It didn't advance the story a whole lot. But ultimately, while I sound like I'm slamming on this, my ultimate comment was this wasn't as painful as I expected it to be, and it had moments of actual fairly clever humor. It's one of those where you're right, lots of bad people doing bad things, admittedly so, and then the transition was slower. You and I complain about the ones where for 90% of the time they're awful, and then, oops, they change. The transition was slower, there's a moral to be learned, and it's all uplifting about parenthood and everything like that. So I gave Bad Moms about a 5 or a 6. Okay. And I was surprised at that.
I didn't see it.
Okay.
And I will admit, it was by choice. So, up next,
Yes.
speaking of choice and pain.
Yes, and perhaps something one of us, either of us didn't see. He's remembering stuff, just like he has in the last 3 movies, I think. That's not a precursor to my review of this one. But when you need a really tough secret agent to rescue everybody and make sure that right is righted and wrong is righted as well, who you going to call? It's got to be Jason Bourne. Okay, I really loved the first one of these.
First one.
And then the second one, he's got to try to figure out who he is. Third one, got to try to figure out who he is. Fourth one, he's not in. Fifth one, they start both the trailer and the film here with, I remember everything. But he doesn't. It's the exact same thing. It's Jason trying to figure out, what happened? Where was Dad? Did you kill Dad? And we're learning more about his family and how he got into the Black Ops thing. So the positive thing is, I like Damon. I think he's good in this role. If the audience, if you're really into the Bourne flicks, you're going to get exactly what you expect. It's the same stuff. The downside of that, and several downsides, are that's the problem with the film. It's the exact same thing, nothing new. It's not shot terribly well, the action stuff. I thought Greengrass,
Yes.
The director who did the first, second, and this one. I don't think he did the third.
He did not do the first film.
He didn't?
No.
Oh, well then maybe that's why the first film,
that's why it's the good one.
You could see stuff and
Yeah.
things like it. This one, again, the fight scenes and things, they're hard to tell what's going on, so that's difficult to see. A lot of the fun, clever moments in the film are in the trailer. So as soon as you cut to this scene, you know what's going to happen. So I was ultimately pretty disappointed in Bourne. I give it, as a film, maybe a 5. There's some good shots. Damon is fun. But we've seen pretty much everything that goes on in this film.
But you saw it? You could see it?
Yes.
Oh, you could see it?
Yeah, well, you...
because in the movies that I saw, you couldn't see a damn thing.
Pretty dark.
Oh, okay.
But nothing terribly new. So the positive side is more of Bourne if you like him. The downside is nothing new.
I also used my executive privilege in being out of the state to not see this film.
Okay.
To me, Paul Greengrass ruined that series. That series ruined modern action cinema, and you can't see a damn thing that's going on. I'm not criticizing this movie because I didn't see it.
Right.
But the other ones, the camera was so shaky and so badly edited, it makes me angry.
Well, you make reference to off the air. We do speak personally off the air. You'd mentioned a scene where they're in a conference room and the camera's going like this while they're at a conference. It's just
It's a shot of a telephone. Is there an earthquake going on?
That's how action is shot anymore, with the exception of maybe a couple of things we have to discuss in video.
Yes.
Nicely enough.
Speaking of video, we're not going to talk about it quite yet. What do you do when you live in a house and when illumination comes on? No, when illumination disappears, something very awful appears. Well, you do whatever you can to make sure you don't put the lights out. Oh boy.
Watch out.
Oh, our lights are going to stay on for this
We can
segment,
only
right?
hope.
Okay. So there was a Doctor Who episode in the David Tennant years called Blink that is iconic to many people and scary as hell and one of the best hours of TV since like The Twilight Zone to me. So when I saw this trailer, I'm like, well, that's Blink. I've seen this before.
Right.
So the concept of this to me does not float my boat because I've already been thrilled by it in a better form, more intelligent form. So this movie it's jump scares. What you see in the trailer is somebody sees a shadowy figure, they turn the lights on, it's gone, they turn it off, or whatever it is.
Right.
I don't
And it's
know.
right there.
Yeah, it's right there.
Oh my God.
And it's loud music and it's really close and you scream. It is that scare again and again and again and again for 90 minutes.
Right.
And okay, and let me tell you something. Part of what you get out of a movie is the environment in which you see it and the overall theatrical experience. My theatrical experience was about 4 or 5 punk kids yapping and laughing through the whole movie until I had to get up and essentially swear in their faces. And they turned out to be slightly younger than I thought they were. But hey, they hear these words in the playground, right? And that shut them up. But I was distracted for half this movie. So I might have liked it a little bit better than I did.
Okay.
But ultimately, it was just, it's not very long, but it was that same scare over and over and over again. Right. And when I realized that's all I'm going to get, I was like, ugh, there's like no building, there's no much. There are a couple of nice moments of dread where, something is trying to get into a room and that's kind of creepy. But otherwise, it's loud noises over and over again. So I didn't think too much of Lights Out.
I agree completely. Every single supposedly scary bit is a quick editing cut or something jumping out at you. That's not clever at all. I did like the primary story follows this one young woman who is trying to get out on her own, trying to create a relationship with this guy, and she gets pulled back in because her younger brother is experiencing a lot of these jump scares at his house, and then her mom, whom she left, the daughter left the mother. they're all having the problem. So it's this family issue, but the young girl and her boyfriend, her Amor, are really good. The kind of serious stuff, the subplot, for want of a better term, surrounding this thing, I thought was well done. Not terribly interesting, but good performances. But then once you did, as you say, once you've seen the jump scare 2, 3, 4 times, it got really, really monotonous. And as nice as this film looked, and as good as the somewhat dramatic stuff was, I thought it was really quite disappointing.
So let's go beyond that.
Oh,
for the next film.
Cleverly, see how cleverly he introduces that, because Kirk and Spock and McCoy and everybody's back. The Federation, what a surprise, faces some kind of unbelievable dilemma that's going to wipe out everybody in Star Trek Beyond.
We need more power.
I'm gonna get all she's got, Captain.
Brace yourselves!
My dad joined Starfleet because he believed in it. I joined on a dare.
You joined to see if you could live up to him. You spent all this time trying to be your father, and now you're wondering just what it means to be you.
It isn't uncommon, you know. It's easy to get lost in the vastness of space. There's only yourself, your ship, your crew.
You really want to head back out there, huh?
Our captain will come for us. Mercy will be the last thing on his mind.
I am counting on it.
Fear of death is illogical. Fear of death is what keeps us alive.
Everyone who goes there, he kills.
That's our friends out there. We can't just leave them behind.
Unity is not your strength. It is a weakness. I think you're underestimating humanity.
Hold on to something! Fire at will!
So,
yes.
as a major Star Trek fan all
Well,
your
you
life...
didn't tell me, so I would have
sorry.
worn mine, but
Sorry.
that's okay.
I don't know.
He's on top
That's
of
how I
things.
get the upper hand, like that. Hit me. I mean, don't hit me.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
tell me what you think.
I am a huge Star Trek fan, have been since childhood, loved pretty much all of the iterations. Didn't like Deep Space Nine, but anyway, I know all about all of those kind of things. I've really enjoyed these reboots. I've gotten very used to these new characters. Very sad that Anton Yelchin tragically was killed recently, and so a lot of rumors around whether or not they're going to bring Chekhov back. But anyway, in looking at this one, after the somewhat disappointment, in my opinion, of the second one from the reboot, which was an unkind remake of The Wrath of Khan, I thought this one gets back to the good things again. I feel like, again, such an old man because I'm grumpy about everything. And I don't seem to like anything, which isn't the case. But the good thing about this is this gets back to the fun, the camaraderie, the upbeat feeling of unity from crews and the people that Roddenberry's original series and most of the other iterations have followed. This one's loads and loads of fun. That's how I can best describe this. I went into this worried that their big push was from the director of The Fast and the Furious. Yeah. Oh, great, this is going to be unwatchable action. And in my opinion, the action sequences were unwatchable. I couldn't tell who was doing what was happening. I got so completely disinterested in it that I was very disappointed. So ultimately, while I thought the effects were terrific, of course, you got to expect that, I really enjoyed the way they're very slowly expanding on these characters, and these actors clearly seem to be creating kind of a camaraderie of their own that's enjoyable, and I'm sure we're going to be seeing more of these, which I'll look forward to. I was ultimately pretty disappointed as a Star Trek fan and as a movie fan in this, and gave Beyond about a 5 or a 6.
Interesting, because I thought the first one was good, the first new one, and I loved the idea, I said this the last time you'll hear me say this, I love the idea that they set it up so they could do anything they wanted to do.
Very clever.
And then what they did was remake the most popular film in the previous series. That made me mad, and I didn't really like the last one. This one I liked a lot, maybe because I was not, my sights were set a little lower. I was nervous about the Fast and the Furious connection because I think those movies are garbage and the action in them is unwatchable. That action didn't bother me in this one.
Okay.
And it might, I don't know if it was that the action was better than I thought it would be, or if it was as bad, but the rest of the movie outweighed that for me. I sat relatively close to the screen in this one, and I didn't walk out hating it because of the action. And bad action will sink any movie for me. I loved the characters and how they were used. Everybody got a chance to shine. The effects were really good. When the Enterprise is attacked by the threat in this movie for the first time, it was really intense and kind of scary because when you saw what was happening and how it was happening, like, this is really brutal and savage and all that. I loved the storyline, the ideas. I mean, I really dug this a lot. It made me quite happy, which not a lot of movies do. So I think Star Trek Beyond goes beyond the previous one.
Okay, brief caveat. If you haven't seen this and this is a spoiler alert, turn off and come back when we do this in about 10 seconds. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds to turn this down if you want. Aren't you tired of seeing the Enterprise get destroyed in every iteration of these films?
Well,
it's like, first of all, how long does it take to rebuild these things?
When they did it in the original film series,
right,
everybody had the Enterprise for 20 plus years, so destroying it was like a huge punch to the heart. But now it's like, for a lot of people who are watching it now, the Enterprise for younger people has existed for 3 movies, so it's not as much weight to it.
Bring it back.
It's like you want to wait a little longer.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah. So when he turns into a werewolf, I never saw it coming.
It was hard to believe. The effects were great.
Up next is it you or is it
I think it's you.
Oh, hey.
We'll discuss it. I don't care.
So, legit, I can finally use it correctly. Who are you going to call when spirits from beyond are wreaking havoc in modern-day Boston, New York City? Well, you call 3 ladies who've got a lot of spunk and sass and proton packs, and you call them, this time you call them, because legitimately and legally it is a trademark, the Ghostbusters.
Break out the new equipment! Ghost trap set. Ecto goggles down!
The most controversial film of the decade.
Isn't it, though? In many respects. It's true.
I hated it because it was ladies.
Okay.
No,
there
wait, no, that's not true. Sorry. Nope. Go ahead.
As with any remake, and we've got Ben-Hur coming up, we've got the Star Trek one we just talked about. Give me a reason to do it, a logical reason to do it, beyond hopefully money. And I was really hoping that this wasn't just going to be a remake of Ghostbusters with women. I have no problem with the Ghostbusters being women. I went into this thinking, I know, unfortunately, that Ramis is dead, but we know that, as you'll see in the film, this isn't a giveaway or anything, Marian Aykroyd and Ernie Hudson are all still with us. And so what I was really hoping for was pass the baton. I've come to find McCarthy being pretty funny, and I liked the characters pretty well, but it was just a remake. And the sad thing for me was this wasn't funny. There was one character in it who maybe was funny, and ultimately the effects were absolutely mind-boggling. I
hear tell that this is one of the better 3D movies in recent years.
Yeah, and we did see it in 3D,
did you? Okay.
And it was, by the effects, I mean, the 3D was okay, but just the way the effects are done and how the ghosts look, it looked terrific. Now I went back, I got the UHD version of Ghostbusters, the original, which was out. The effects then still stand up. So I'm thinking to myself, and I'm sorry to get down on this, but if the only thing that's different is it's not funny and it's women, I don't get it. I don't see why this was remade. It's clearly set up for sequels. Yeah, I guess, but I thought there were a lot more logical ways you could have brought that into it. The characters I thought were pretty interesting, but I just kind of thought all this is a remake with women in it. And so I was hoping they do something different. Hopefully they'll build on this in the next one.
That ultimately, the shortest version of this that I could give is, I thought it was okay. I'm open to more of them. Just make them better than this one was.
If you hadn't seen the original and you're not comparing it, I mean, I think you have to compare it. It's only fair. Then it stands up perfectly well as a film, except it's not funny. But that's in comparison to the original.
I mean, it's not as strict a remake as I feared it would be.
Okay.
It's vaguely similar, but it's not stroke for stroke and beat for beat and line for line. Although maybe if you stand back and squint, it might be. While I was watching it, I was like, well, geez, this feels different-ish. Not funny. I don't like Paul Feig movies. I haven't seen all of them, but the ones I've seen have been just way too long and crude and lame and trying too hard, and this falls into that category.
Right.
It takes way too long to kick into gear with them being Ghostbusters or getting anywhere. You're just going and going and going, and so many scenes where they're just riffing back and forth don't work. I I may have snickered once in the whole movie. When it gets to the end where they're big badass Ghostbusters and they're really laying waste to the ghost population, that was really well done and very badass and very cool. There are logic issues here and there, like at the end there are Macy's, a parade of ghost Macy's balloons, and I'm like, are these the ghosts of deceased balloons?
Right.
Are they possessed balloons? I'm not quite sure. But Kate McKinnon I thought was very good. Although even again, some of what she did was weird. Like, why are you talking that way all of a sudden? There were odd choices. I think if she could be reined in or directed a bit better, she would be great in the next one. Leslie Jones was way better than this
She was the only
trailer.
part that was funny. And I just kept wanting to see more and more of her.
I could have done with way less movie references because all it makes me do is go, well, you know, Jaws was a good movie. When was the last time I saw I'm not paying attention to your movie anymore? And yeah, interesting. I mean, at this point, everybody who's going to see Ghostbusters has already, unless they don't want to wait until, and they're going to wait until video, in which case, you know, see what you think. But you know that the only reason this was made was to make at least 3.
Sure.
So, because 3 is a magic number, as Schoolhouse Rock taught us. So hopefully the next 2 will be better.
We'll find out.
And so, speaking of better or worse or something else, we now move on to thanking our friends at Keene Cinemas for that which we have just received and you have just heard about. And most of these movies are still in the theater. I would say probably see Ghostbusters and Lights Out soon because I don't
see them.
know how much longer. We're in the last throes of 2 or 3 movies coming out a week, and the theater can only hold so many. So I think Secret Life of Pets and Ghostbusters and Lights Out are on the short list.
I would think so.
So up next,
with a couple new coming out.
Which we call home video, which people before us have called, wiser men have called it home video, and ladies. And Tom is here to talk to you about the first one. Hi.
Yes. So it's summer, and you get superhero action blockbusters. Batman seems to be thinking that, and everybody else seems to be thinking, maybe Superman isn't such a great guy to have hanging around since he's so all-powerful. So Batman goes after Superman, and they're going to fight all night. And when the sun rises, there's going to be a dawn of justice.
DC Comics superhero sets. Darkseid is destroying the city, but our heroes have teamed up.
Heavy metal heroes.
Yeah, exactly right.
So I did not expect much of this because I get tired of the DC, you know, I got daddy issues. I'm a sad Superman. Fine. I like a Superman who smiles and is nice to people. Go figure. Goldfinger. So I wasn't looking forward to this, but ultimately I thought it was kind of fun.
Okay.
It's similar in many ways, maybe too many ways, to Civil War in that you have 2 guys who are at each other's throat for pretty valid reasons as far as each is concerned. You don't really look at one of those guys and say, I don't see where he's coming from with this. It kind of makes sense as to why they duke it out. Why they duke it out is that.
Well, yeah.
But and this movie almost feels like it exists solely to set up the Justice League movie, which is DC going, we have a superhero team too, we can do it too, and they can all be angry and mean looking and have tattoos and stuff. But it was fun, and when the big battle happens, it's fun. There's a huge monster-y creature, and I'm watching this in the theater going, hey, it's a monster movie now, it's a giant monster movie, this is great. It was relatively well shot. It wasn't a lot of the shaky garbage and the disease, as I call it. So I thought it was fun for what it was, but just be prepared that it's dark and dour, and this isn't like taking your kid or sitting them down in front of a Marvel movie where things are relatively shiny and upbeat.
Again, used to work for the company, so I have there's a partial fondness for the DC universe, and I know a lot of backstory about it. I went into this seeing this very much like The Dark Knight Rises, Frank Miller's version, which is dark and grim and oppressive, and looking forward to that. I haven't liked a lot of Snyder's work, particularly like The Watchmen. I worked a little bit too closely with on the original Watchmen stuff. So I'm trying to distance myself from it. I didn't like this a lot in theaters because it was so grim. I did go in, and I'll agree with you that when I went into it in the theater, my real preconception was, how are you going to make me think that Superman's a bad guy?
Or that Batman could take him out.
Right, and they did a pretty good job with that, so I did like that. I was down on this for those reasons, for how both dark, oppressive natured it was, and hard to see. Like it more on video. I had a chance to, I got the UHD version of it. It's super crisp looking. And I enjoyed it a good deal more. So I think if you chuck your mind at the door, you're not looking for big messages or anything, and you just want to have some fun. I did still find the 2-3 minute bit where Lex Luthor has all of this background on all of these other superheroes.
Not a great Lex Luthor.
Right. No, not a great Lex Luthor. And it's so clear that this is a push for the Justice League movie that's coming out. DC has not had a lot of luck.
I've come up with logos for each of them.
Yeah, exactly right. Come on.
Yeah.
Clearly, Marvel owns the movie theaters, I think. Now, that's going to be a big question coming up this week with Suicide Squad. I think it's going to do really, really well. But again, talk about grim and ugly kind of looking, not the characters necessarily, but maybe the morals, the themes of it. But I thought this was... I respected that it picked up like almost immediately after the last Superman. So they followed their storyline pretty well. And if you're just looking for an adventurous take, I thought that Affleck did a good job both as Batman and as Bruce Wayne. So I thought this was, particularly on second viewing, I thought this was a lot more fun than I expected it to be.
So speaking of teens,
yes,
who may have watched this film at some point or another, this is a movie about teens. What do you do when you are a group of kids who have special powers and there's an evil, oppressive government who's trying to put you down and everybody else around you, and you're the only chosen ones who can do it? Well, if you can't get into the Hunger Games, you become Divergent, Allegiant.
Fire the rockets, back the space missile into the launching pad, and start the countdown.
And then she dies. Was that Mike?
Spoiler.
Okay, I want to be honest because I think we have a thing going on here. I don't remember much about this movie.
Yeah.
This and Maze Runner and Hunger Games and the other ones that have come out that I forget have all blurred together to me and basically cancel each other out in my head. I give this movie credit that each one in this series is different than the previous one. The settings are different. The scenario is somewhat different. And it's not like the same thing over and over again. It is one story that moves forward, and that's pretty cool. And the environments are different than we've seen before, and I give it that. But having said that, honestly, I don't remember much about it. I think I remember it being fairly weak, but being impressed with the fact that it was a different setting.
Right. So. Well, it's a different setting. It's like the Cloud City. Jeff Daniels is in charge of everything, and he's running. He seems like such a nice guy, but so he's running some tests on her to see why are you so spectacularly divergent and everything. And her boyfriend says, "What? You know, there's this like, wait a minute, you're falling in love with him or something like that." And so there's subplot and subtext. I thought it looked really good. You talk about it being a different location. The location that they chose, they finally get over the wall, out of this big, huge desert thing, and into this really crisp, beautiful blue thing where everything seems wonderful. Oops, but it clearly isn't. You're right that I find these to blend in through all of these other types of things, so this one doesn't stand out of the three. I think I prefer the Hunger Games because it seems a bit more mature, a bit more adult. I think better performances in this. But for my understanding is that Allegiant, for Divergent fans, people were pretty pleased with it. And boy, as I recall, you'd mentioned that you'd thought that this was supposed to be, again, the Magic Number trilogy and the last of them. This was pretty open-ended for yet another sequel. Haven't heard anything about it, but I thought it was okay.
Okay, speaking of okay, I say okay to you introducing the next
We'll
one.
kick right in. And we were talking about Star Trek earlier, and maybe our friend Mr. Yeltsin, instead of playing with Chekhov, decides to play in a rock band, but you get a bad gig. And somebody happens to witness something that shouldn't have been going on. So you end up being held in the green room.
Bear Masher has a bear trap, spring-loaded catapult, and battering ram.
Okay, so this is clearly a small budget film. It's a very low budget, shot pretty much on the run. It looks really good. Yeltsin is good. Again, sad that we lose such a young, wonderful actor. But how do you get Patrick Stewart to get something like this? Was it Yeltsin's connection or something like that? I don't know. But you're just sitting there, and Stewart just takes such control. He really chews into this. This was a surprisingly taut little thriller, where one of the things I respect is put characters in a situation. And what's fun is obviously the audience is in there thinking, "Oh, what would I do?" And they do it. And it goes along pretty logically. This is grim, rated R for some nasty action with a lot of ugly blood and some vicious like dog killings and things like that. Not a lot of language, certainly no sex or nudity in it. But this is a taut little thriller where Yeltsin and his band see a murder committed. And so right as they're about to leave, they're held in this place. Patrick Stewart is the owner of the location where the band is, the bar area, and it's basically an hour and a half. It's pretty short of get everybody else out of there, and how are we going to get in there, because they locked themselves in the green room. How is Patrick Stewart and his bad guys going to get in there and kill these people? So I thought Green Room was a big surprise. Rentable at, well, you don't have video stores, but Amazon or something like that, you can download it. I thought it's certainly worth a watch.
Okay, in the interest of time, I will read to you from this text. To stop a diabolical plot, a dead CIA operative's memories, secrets, and skills are implanted into a death row inmate to complete the operative's mission. Kevin Costner stars with Ryan Reynolds in Criminal.
Really, he does.
Maybe he doesn't.
Tommy Lee.
You've almost got the watch. You've got it.
Oh, you saw a trailer for that?
I actually did.
Okay, I didn't remember hearing any of this, and we talk often about, well, wait a minute, if you pick up a box or something like that, or you're seeing something on video that has, come on, say it with me, Ryan Reynolds, Kevin Costner, Tommy Lee Jones, Gary Oldman, are you kidding me? Why wasn't this in theaters? It may have been. This isn't anything spectacular. I like everybody in it. Gary Oldman is just awful in this. He plays like a CIA guy who's out to find Kevin Costner. Costner was this criminal who just has no reservations or anything. He's just a psychopath, basically. And Ryan Reynolds, who was a CIA operative, has some information that the CIA needed to get back. So Tommy Lee Jones is a doctor who finds a way to put Ryan Reynolds' memories temporarily into Kevin Costner. So this is kind of a venue for Costner to show his great acting range. Oh, he's just terribly crazy and evil, but then, oh, he's nice because Ryan Reynolds is there. If you like Oldman, I can't say to watch this, but if you like Costner, certainly, it's okay. You see a transition going on. It was entertaining enough, but nothing too great shakes. I'd give Criminal about a 5.
Okay, and I didn't see it.
Okay.
So, up next, a really hard gear shift from Criminal. We have an early 70s Japanese animated erotic fantasy masterpiece entitled Belladonna of Sadness.
The tower speaks and tells you what to do.
Tell you a lot?
It does, actually. So this is really interesting. It's an art film.
Yep.
It's kind of saucy. So it's a cartoon.
Surprisingly,
not
yeah.
for kids.
I'll agree.
But it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I first saw this in a theater recently, and I was surprised because it's not completely fully animated like you'd expect. Some of it is really gorgeous, intricate artwork, and the camera moves over that. So initially I was a little, not upset isn't the word, I was surprised. I'm like, oh, this isn't exactly animated.
It takes a while to get used to this style.
But if you know that going in, or if once you realize that, it's just gorgeous. The artwork is amazing. The music score is really interesting. It's like a combination of like orchestral and like fuzz rock. It's like this sort of a fable about this young woman who is sort of in a feudal area of some land, we don't know, they don't appear to be Japanese necessarily, who's sort of brutalized by the lord of the land, and she eventually sort of makes a deal with the devil, and she rises up into power over the populace, and It's like battle of wills. It's very avant-garde and artistic. It's not terribly long. This Blu-ray release is gorgeous. It sounds amazing. You get multiple trailers. You get interviews with the director, with the artist who did a lot of the drawings, with the guy who composed the music score, and they're like career-spanning overviews, and then they focus on the movie. So it's a great package for this film. This is for people who if you like Fantastic Planet, that movie, or Oddball, midnight movie, 70s cult movie kind of things. This is for you. If you're a parent of a small child, don't show it to them. For 18 years. But I actually quite enjoyed Belladonna of Sadness.
The copy that I ended up watching had no subtitles, so I watched the entire thing. I'll agree completely that it's riveting, it's fascinating. I think I might have almost been sucked into the visuals even more so, since I was learning nothing from the soundtrack. Some of your backstory starts putting some things together for me, but it was just visually just stunning. It took me a little while to get used to the animation style, but much of it was just mesmerizing. So ultimately, without having known the story, I still thought it's short enough that it really kept me going, and in knowing that, I think I'm going to try to seek out a version with subtitles so I can really, because it was just a fascinating film to watch.
It is. It's very interesting, and it's really cool that something like this can get resurrected, because I believe it didn't really have much of a release even in Japan originally in '72.
Would have.
And I don't know that it was ever really properly released here. So now we have it. Up next, we have, speaking of Asian cinema, Tony Jaa, who you may or may not know from Ong Bak and Tom Yong-gun and The Protector and other really cool Thai action movies, is back as a prison guard who is up against a corrupt system and trying to do what's right for his sick daughter in Killzone 2. So this is what an action movie is, damn it.
That's certainly the way they should be shot.
All the time. All this action stuff, these Fast and the Furious, all these American action movies are just trash.
Yeah.
I don't even need a good story. I don't even need good acting. Let me see what the hell's going on.
I didn't even need subtitles because once
again
again
you didn't
I
have
got a version
subtitles.
that had, and I watched the whole thing. I made sense out of everything because a well-shot film, and that's why in many respects these things can be universal. They can go anywhere. I figured the whole thing out. It was just shot beautifully. The action is just stunning. You know, when we're used to, ooh, cut, and then you see, I just thought Killzone 2 was, I mean, it's stupid to say, but just great fun to watch.
It is. I mean, it's well shot.
Yeah.
There's good drama in it. The story is good and complex. Doesn't have to be. And the action is really good.
Yeah.
So I've never seen Killzone, and I went into this thinking, ooh, are there going to be any loose strings? I have no idea. I meant to look up and see if there's any connection between the two movies, but just wanted to tell people you don't have to see Killzone to get anything out of this. You don't have to have subtitles to get anything out of this.
Good performances.
Yeah, and the disc is subtitled, by the way. So yeah, I really enjoyed Killzone 2 a lot, and it is one that now, having seen the trailer, it's like I gotta watch that again and show it to friends. So finally, lastly, we have what we like to call lovingly the Arrow Video Corner.
Indeed,
in which we discuss a release. Hey, there it is, right in the corner. Right in the corner.
Watch out. Watch out.
We discuss releases from the U.S. branch of Arrow Video. Yo, there it is. It's all his work. It's very nice. So it is a film by Mr. not Nicholas Rogue. It is a film by Mr. Ken Russell.
Yes.
And it is entitled Crimes of Passion, and here's a clip.
Pet milk way. Oh, away out west where a man's a man. They mark their heifers with the pet milk brand.
I think more than that kind of a crime has been committed.
It's a crime, all right.
With this movie, you know, big names, particularly for the decade there in the 80s. Kathleen Turner, Anthony Perkins. I mean, I remember this coming out and making a big to-do at the time when it was released as being just the hottest thing. And oh my God, shouldn't this be in one of those dark rooms that you have to go in and the floor is sticky. I just thought this was almost laughably over the top. And I can't imagine, I didn't see this originally in theaters, but I can't imagine who fell for this because Turner is just bad. It's not shot all that well. It's got what I think this can probably be attributed to the time, the over-the-top soundtrack and the music, but I just didn't see why Crimes of Passion. Many people consider it, you know, like some kind of classic. You got me.
I thought it was terrible. It's like, it's awful. Like the dialogue is horrendous, and I'm like, is this supposed to be a comedy? But it's not really. A lot of the performances are terrible. The lead actor is a dud. What I will say for people, the Arrow aspect of it looks incredible.
Okay.
The candy colors are beautiful. It sounds great. Tons of extras. There's a Ken Russell commentary with the guy who wrote the movie. There's an interview with the guy who wrote the movie. Tons of, hours of extras. And I tried to, this is one of those where I watched those to give somebody give me an explanation. Why is this supposed to be good?
Right.
And the soundtrack is super cheesy synth, like Casio soundtrack. I mean, people I know like this movie a lot, and I just didn't. I mean, it was great to be able to finally find out. This was a movie that I caught a little of on cable when I was a kid, and it was like, ooh, this is a dirty movie.
Right.
And now I watch like, ooh, this is dirty. And it's kind of crappy too. I mean, this feels like an early '80s porno movie, acting and writing-wise, without the stuff that you watch one of those for. Although it goes about as far as you can go, content-wise, in an R-rated film at the time. So we thank Arrow Video and everybody else for that. Even though I didn't like it, it was still cool to finally be able to see it looking like that. That's all we have for this week.
Yep.
Next week we will probably have an equal number of films to talk about.
It's seeming
and hopefully give them all their due. Until then, I'm Mark.
And I'm Tom.
And we are the
Cinemaniacs.
Thank you.
Bye.